Welcome to Key Review 9, Group Dynamics and Team Structures. Here we're going to talk about the fundamentals of group dynamics, team structures, and the collaborative processes that are essential for effective organizational behavior. What's the difference between a group and a team? A group is a smaller number of people who interact to reach a general goal. Rules may be informal or evolving. Coordination can be uneven. For example, a study group meets weekly. Members show up, share tips, and sometimes divide work loosely. By contrast, a team is a small group with a clear shared goal, explicit roles and rules, and coordinated methods for working together, usually more structured and interdependent. For example, a competition team with a captain, scheduled practices, set position, and a defined game plan. A quick test for differentiating between a group and a team is if you can point to written goals, assigned roles, and an agreed process of collaboration, you're likely looking at a team, not just a group. Remember, a group is more general and a team has clear shared goals, explicit roles and rules, and coordinated methods for working together. What are the three types of roles within a group? You have task, social, and individual. Task roles are those that drive the work forward, focusing on completion of tasks. For example, an initiator might say, let's propose 3 solutions. An information giver might say, here are the data. A coordinator might say, I'll align everyone's parts. Social roles are roles that focus on maintaining positive relationships in a healthy group climate. For example, an encourager might say, great idea, say more. A harmonizer might mediate tension, and a gatekeeper might invite quiet members into the conversation. Individual roles are roles that fulfill a personal need, often at the group's expense. An example might be a recognition seeker that might grandstand, a dominator that talks over others, or a joker that derails focus. So to review, we have task, social, and individual roles. And a healthy group keeps task and social roles active and limits individual roles. What's the difference between a rule and a norm, and how can that help us understand group expectations? Groups operate within established guidelines, some explicit and some unspoken. Differentiating between rules and norms is key to navigating group dynamics effectively. Rules are explicit, followable prescriptions for behavior, often written and formally stated. For example, meetings start at 3:05 sharp. Slides are due by Wednesday. Norms are unstated, shared expectations for behavior that emerge and evolve over time within a group. For example, sitting in the same seats each week, not interrupting the note taker, dressing casually on Fridays. If a violation leads to a formal sanction, it's typically a rule. If it causes discomfort or informal disapproval without an official penalty, it's a norm. So remember, rules are explicit, followable prescriptions, while norms are unstated, shared expectations. Next, we're going to dive into the 5 types of power: legitimate, referent, expert, reward, and coercive. Legitimate power is where influence comes from a recognized position or office. For example, an elected chair sets the agenda. Referent power is when influence stems from being liked or admired. For example, members follow a person's lead because everyone respects that person. Expert power is where influence arises from knowledge or skill. For example, the coder with the deepest API experience steers technical choices. Reward power is the ability to give benefits or remove negatives. For example, a supervisor assigns preferred shifts to top performers. Coercive power, by contrast, is the ability to punish or impose costs. For example, a project lead can remove someone from the presentation team. So to review, we have legitimate power, referent power or being liked, expert power, reward power, and coercive power. What's the relationship between group cohesiveness and productivity? Cohesiveness is best described as the attraction and loyalty members feel toward the group and each other. That we instead of I feeling. Balanced cohesion and task focus give us the best results. For example, a tight-knit lab team that enjoys working together and holds each other to deadlines and finishes early. High cohesion and low task may be social but underperforming. For example, a Friendly club spends meetings chatting and misses grant details as a result. Low cohesion can lead to weak commitment and poor coordination. For example, members might not show up or share files on time. So remember, cohesiveness is the attraction or loyalty members feel toward the group and each other. For the best results, we want to balance cohesion and a task focus. What are Fisher's 4 phases of group talk? Orientation, conflict, emergence, and reinforcement. In orientation, a group is getting acquainted and clarifying the task and purpose. For example, what exactly are we solving? Let's outline requirements. In conflict, different ideas surface as members test assumptions and positions. For example, I prefer survey data. Interviews would be a lot richer. It's a healthy debate. In emergence, the group moves toward a decision, with positions softening and combinations forming. For example, let's do a short survey and 3 interviews and take the best from both worlds. In reinforcement, the group confirms the decision and celebrates the process or outcome. For example, great plan. Let's lock tasks and timelines. Interaction patterns matter here. All channel talk, where everyone communicates with everyone, tends to boost cohesion and problem solving. A rigid pattern can stifle input. So to review, the 4 phases of group talk are orientation, conflict, emergence, and reinforcement.